Hello and welcome to another Drive-In Double Feature. I'm Ryan,
I'm Nathan.
and this is the podcast where we talk about two movies a week every Tuesday and Thursday. But before I get into anything at all, we have a Patreon over at patreon.com/Drive-In Double Feature Podcast. You know, Nathan, I was going to McDonald's the other day and I got a Happy Meal, and I've realized we got our new Drive-In Double Feature toys added
Oh, wow.
into
Did those come
every
in?
yeah, to every Happy Meal. So there's like four different toys. There's like one of me like riding on a car with Godzilla. There's one of you riding with James Bond and the Aston Martin, and
Nice.
there's uh there's one with like Burt Reynolds, just like just like hanging out, like talking to Sylvester Stallone, like on a bench.
Oh, I thought he'd be like, I thought, but did my idea not go through of him being covered in Vaseline?
Oh, yeah, that one. Well,
Yeah.
that's the chase variant.
The,
So like you have
oh, the
to,
chaser. Okay.
you have to go to like different McDonald's because not everyone has them.
Mm, gotcha.
But and then we also have just Christina Ricci from Buffalo '66. Just that,
In like the photo booth.
yeah.
Are those
So
our favorite, our like famous episode?
yeah, I mean, what else would they be?
Okay, not Hitler from Hitler Dead or Alive.
Well, you want me to put a Hitler toy in a Happy Meal?
No, McDonald's
I,
is pushing it then.
yeah, that's we had to leave that on the drawing board. I'm sorry,
Okay, yeah.
but yeah, if you want to go, and every toy has like a little, like you push the button, the toy talks, and it says you could visit our Patreon for only $5 a month. It has a bunch of fun episodes like flick fights, a couple of fun discussions, BuzzFeed quizzes, some movie reviews that aren't on the regular feeds. So go check it out. It doesn't affect any regular content. I mean, that was a lot to say, like when you hit that button and it keeps talking about the Patreon.
Well, good.
And but anyway, today we're going to be talking about 1990s, The Night of the Living Dead. And that one is directed by Tom Savini, the special effects wizard.
Wow, he finally got a movie.
And it's his only movie.
Wow, he made one and it was a remake.
Yeah, so this one was really made mainly because of the big kerfuffle of the original, because the original is in the public domain. Anybody could go watch it right
Yeah.
now totally for free. But and because of that, George Romero couldn't make any money off of that movie. And because the production company he used went out of business, it was a whole big ordeal. And he makes like next to no money off of his most famous movie.
Yeah.
And because of that, they decided to do a remake, and George Romero actually wrote the screenplay for this movie as well. And he basically persuaded Tom Savini to direct it, and Tom Savini did special effects for lots of different horror movies, including Dawn of the Dead being one of them, and where
He's
he played.
in Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah, he's in Dawn of the Dead, and he does the special effects for it as well, like the makeup.
Hmm.
And as you know, Tom Savini, we've talked about him before. He did the makeup for Jason and the first Friday the 13th, and also for Friday the 13th Part 4. So very well known horror figure. Like he's known for
Yeah.
a bunch of different horror movies.
Horror nuts go crazy for the guy.
Yeah, I mean, and he does good work too. I mean, he does great special effects work, but I'd say he's more known as a personality more than anything.
Hmm.
But they did kind of persuade him to direct this movie, and he apparently, like, he had a lot of ideas. He wanted to be very grotesque, very off the wall, but he ended up having to battle a lot of the producers for this movie, and he really wasn't satisfied with the finished cut of this movie.
Yeah, I mean, if he was looking for something grotesque, yeah, it because like to me, I was watching this and I was kind of like, is this a TV movie at certain points? Like for a little bit, I was like, this kind of feels like it was made for TV.
It's very tame at times, and like I said, it's he really wanted to do a whole lot more, and he even says like in this the final cut of the movie, he does like he said only about like 40% of his ideas are actually on screen.
That's crazy.
But allegedly he does have an uncut version of this movie that he does screen at like cons or special screenings that he does like to show people. But he wasn't a very big fan of the movie for the longest time, but he did say recently he did watch it and he enjoyed it. But getting all that out of the way, this movie does start exactly how the original one starts, where it shows Barbara and her brother Johnny going to a grave, except this time they're going to go visit their mother and not their father at the grave site.
Wow, they really put a twist on this remake.
I know, and it's in color.
Oh yeah, that one got me too. Oh, and there was an old guy coming up behind them, a zombie, or you think it's a zombie, but joke's on you, it's not a zombie. The guy's just hurt. But the dude, he's doing the same shtick where he's like, "They're coming to get you, Barbara." He keeps saying that.
Well, did you notice who that guy was?
He looked very familiar, but no.
That was Bill Moseley, which you may know from Devil's Rejects or House of a Thousand Corpses.
Got you. Okay, that's actually kind of crazy.
So Bill Moseley's been in a lot of stuff. I think he was also in Leatherface, if I'm not, or no, he was in one of those. He was in one of the like the Texas
Gotcha.
Chainsaw
Well, if we
sequels.
didn't cover it on Drive and Double Feature, I don't know about it. So
Yeah, you've never watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
no, never. It's never happened. Um,
But no,
but
it's yeah, it does start out like the almost the exact same way, and it does start like it does kick it into high gear almost right away when the movie starts.
yeah. So I saw you've seen this one before, right?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I was actually quite surprised because I've heard a lot of praise for this one. Like I seriously like people are like, "Oh, it's a great remake. People love it." I know James Rolfe is a big fan of it. I was surprised how almost little is changed. It is very much like for most of it. There are changes, of course, especially at the end, but it's like a remake of the movie. Like when you think of like a remake, it's like, yeah, we're just doing the same thing here.
Yeah, it's almost shot for shot. Not shot for shot, but it's beat for beat, pretty much the same.
Hmm.
And like I said, that's more, I guess, just so George Romero could basically say, like, I can make money off of the movie that I originally made.
Yeah, makes
So,
sense.
so that seems to be more of the case. But I mean, I will say they do update a lot of the characters for this movie. Like it's still like the same types of characters in here, but they do have different personalities in it. Like
Hmm.
for one, Barbara is not nearly as passive as she is in the original movie, where she's almost like comatose, where she doesn't do
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah, and this one, it seemed like they were gonna go with that angle because she is really freaked out and shaken, but she ends up fighting it, and she actually becomes one of the more badass characters in the movie. She's a fighter.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. Like, part of me, I was like, okay, I do like that she is a lot more um active in the plot, and I do like that she's kind of moving the plot forward and being a lot more assertive, I guess is the word I'm looking for. But at the same time, it's like almost unearned. Like it's just like because she's very. I guess I would have liked a little maybe like, oh, like I used to take shooting lessons, or like I used to go, to the
Hmm.
shooting range. But it's like in this one, she's like it's like bam, like immediately an expert marksman, like can
Yeah.
shoot like zombies at a like
Yeah.
with no problem with these huge shotguns
Yeah.
or rifles.
As soon as Tony Todd just yells at her a little, she's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, let me just murder these things like it's no big deal." Because she's scared of death. That's her thing. She's scared to go to the graveyard. She's frightened, and then she gets chased by zombies and like a pretty cool little car scene where she pulls the e-brake and she crashes it. But you're right. It's almost just like so sudden. I'm not scared anymore. I'm not a little baby. I can fight these things. And it's like, well, what really changed here? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess I would have liked, like I said, like a little bit of backstory, or she could have said something like, "Oh, like I was attacked one like a couple years ago, so I took some self defense
Hmm.
courses," or I bought a gun or
Wait,
something.
wait, hold on. Am I thinking of the wrong movie, or does she say my dad was in the military?
She does say that,
Which
but
is a really bad
that
excuse, though.
that
Like,
that's
my dad was in the
uh,
army. That doesn't mean you can. I can. My grandpa was. Doesn't mean I can shoot a gun.
yeah, my dad was in the military too. So like I am not an expert marksman by any stretch of the imagination, um but anyway, I do like the how different it is. They did make her a little different, which I do appreciate instead of
Mhm.
her just being like just staring off into
Oh,
space or
yes.
whatever.
Yeah.
But it does go pretty much exactly the same as the other one where they do crash the car. She runs into Ben, who is played by Tony Todd, like you said, Tony Todd being from the Candyman,
Yeah.
which is like his most famous role.
hmm and but he's in so many like horror movies.
Yeah, he's in a lot, but this one was like his actually his first horror movie that he ever did.
Really? Wow.
Hmm. And they do run into the house. There's still the family that's in the cellar. It's Cooper with his wife and daughter, and then I can't remember the other guy's name, but it's like the country guy with his
His girlfriend.
girlfriend Judy Rose.
Yeah, it's my girlfriend Judy Rose is here.
Yeah.
um
So it, but it's still the same dynamics as before, where it's like a big power struggle between Ben and Cooper, where Cooper's like trying to be like the one in charge, where Ben's just like, I'm not going to listen to a word you're saying because you're just wanting to go downstairs and hide.
Exactly, yeah, that's what it is. He's like got control of the basement because his sick daughter and wife is down there, and it's a lot of yelling. It's just a lot of the same thing. um And honestly, the performance from the guy who plays Cooper in this movie really didn't like it. I actually found his character, and I know his character is supposed to be annoying, but I just felt like the whole performance was just really annoying.
I kind of thought, I don't know if I thought the performance was bad, so to speak,
hmm
or is more so it's like I really think they're really trying too hard to make him evil.
Yeah, that might be it. Because like he just like does weird things. Like there's a TV upstairs, and at one point in the movie, he decides to take it downstairs, and it's like, why? What's your point? Like I don't know. And like he watches the girl get pulled out the window, and he's just like sitting there staring. Like he's that evil. He's that bad of a guy. He's got like a wife and a daughter.
Well, yeah, and he's got the scene where they because in this and the other one I believe they just hear it on the radio like all the other destruction
Yes.
going
Yeah.
on, but in this one they actually can watch it on TV where that does show them being like, hey, this there's a huge outbreak going on, and this is pretty much the end of days, Judgment Day, whatever. And like you said, Cooper takes the TV, he tries to take it downstairs like to the basement,
hmm
and Ben is just like, hey, what the hell? And they're fighting over the TV, and he drops it down the stairs accidentally. And Cooper's like, look what you did. And he's like, and Ben's like, well, you're gonna take the TV. And he said, there's no reception down there, you idiot. And I'm like, so then, yeah, like you
Then
said,
why? What were you doing?
what were you doing? Like, what benefit were you going to have to having the TV all to yourself? Like, you just didn't want to be upstairs watching TV.
Yeah, there's moments like that. I think that was my main issue. So I mean, I think overall I enjoy this movie. I think it's fine. I don't think it's definitely not as good as the original, but it's like character choices like that. It's just like so much fighting. I don't know what it was. I was just getting really tired of Tony Todd and Cooper, or I should say Ben and Cooper just yelling at each other the whole time. And I know that's the point, but still it doesn't make for a very fun movie at times.
I think a lot of it too. It's the other one. It was a lot more symbolic because it was like racial tensions at the time. Because it was
Yeah.
kind of like a black man taking charge over a white man, and the guy
hmm
not liking it. And I really don't think they really played into that angle that much here. It was more just like he was just being really weird about the whole thing.
Exactly. I think Ben at one point just says like, "Oh, I know I don't like you and you don't like me," but nothing really. That's like that's it, and it seems more like just a personality clash. But it doesn't seem as deserved that Ben acts the way he does. But I mean, as we learn later on, he's also not very much a good guy, which I kind of like that angle because he lets the anger get the most of him in the at the end of everything.
Yeah. So they do try to keep the zombies out, and it's the whole. They have a huge argument about, should we stay upstairs? Should we go down to the cellar? And Cooper's like trying to get his wife to stay down there, and his wife is like, what I did like, they do kind of like a little fake out or whatever, because that one, the country guy, they're like, he's like, you can either stay up here and help me, or you can go down there and die. And at first, he runs down there, and he's just like, ugh. And then then he brings out his girlfriend. And he's like, okay, all right, we're here to help. And
Mhm.
they, and then even Cooper's wife like comes in to like help board up the windows.
Yeah, well, she starts looking for the key because it has the same plot detail of there's a gas pump outside and they can bring the truck out to it so they can fill it up with gas. So she's like hunting around, everyone's boarding the windows. That's a lot of this movie is people just boarding windows as zombies slowly make their way
I,
to the home.
and they even like have a discussion about which boards to use. Like
Yeah.
because like one guy's like, here, I got this board, and Ben's like, no, that's not good enough. And they're like, what do you mean it's good enough? And he just like punches a hole right through. It's like, see, no good. And
Uh-huh. Yeah, and then we get to see them dismantle a table. He's like, "Yeah, take off these legs and we'll put the table up there."
yeah, but they do get everything all put together and everything. They finally are just like, okay, well, we're gonna make a run for it. They think they have the right keys, and at first it's just going to be, the country guy's name is Tom, so it's
Mhm.
going to be Ben, Tom, and Judy, or Ben and Tom at first. And they make like this whole thing where he's like, all right, so we're going to get in the truck and go. And Judy Rose like, I can drive. And they're like,
Tell him I could drive.
yeah, he says, tell him I can drive. I'm
Which
like,
is so weird because Ben's right there looking at them and she's like, tell him I can drive."
well, not only that, I'm like, I'm assuming almost everyone in this room knows how to drive. Like,
Yeah, I think maybe she's supposed to be playing younger than
but
what she looks like.
I don't know, because he even says like, he goes up to Ben and he's like, we need her. I mean, she's been driving trucks since she was little.
And it's not, which would make okay, it would make a little sense, right? If it was like a semi truck, if it was like some weird specialty truck, it's just a regular old truck. Like I mean, like I've hardly driven trucks in my life.
Well,
But,
yeah, because it's just a regular pickup truck. And
mhm.
it's like, okay, well, we need three people. We need one in the bed, one riding shotgun, and one driving. I'm like, do we need all those people? Like,
Well, that ends up being their downfall because, of course, the
she,
gas pump thing gets ruined.
well, yeah, and then she drives like a maniac and like
Mhm.
flings Ben like from out of the truck bed.
Yeah.
And Tom is like screaming like, Judy Rose, we lost Ben. And
We
then
gotta go back for Ben.
and she doesn't listen. And then they get to the gas pump, and he's like, we lost Ben. And she's like, why didn't you tell me? And I'm just like, I did. And but if
Yeah.
you look though, like the way they shoot the scene, it's like Ben's not that far from the gas pump.
Yeah, I I didn't get that. I didn't think it was worth it because it's even explained by what's the girl's name? Barbara. She is like, oh, they walk really slow. You can just dodge them, and she dodges them quite easily at the end of the movie. So I don't know. Ben is like tackling them like a football player, knocking into them, which seems really unnecessary.
Well, yeah, they're not the running zombies that we've seen before, and they're very, like, if you get close enough to them, they'll get you. But
Hmm.
very pretty much like you could just be walking like, or like jog like past them, and you'd be okay.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
exactly.
but they do try to get the gas pump open. It doesn't, the key, it's like they don't have the right key. And So they decide, oh, let's just shoot the lock, and they end up getting exploded. Same way in the other movie, like the gas pump explodes and the car explodes too.
Yeah, but they put a lot of focus on that explosion. Like we see a lot of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so they do that. One scene too I want to mention is there's like that really weird scene where like Barbara just like goes crazy on one zombie like that broke through the door. So like, see, it's not human, and they just like she shoots it in the chest a bunch, and then
Yeah,
like
because nobody wants to believe that they're the dead risen, and she
yeah,
just shoots it over and over again, and then finally hits it in the head.
and like these guns. I don't think they ever like they have like infinite bullets
Oh
apparently.
yeah, this isn't the zombie movie about conserving ammo. They just like I think she asks like, "Oh, where's the ammunition?" And the what's it? We just said his name,
Tom,
Tom. Tom is like, "Oh, he keeps them in the drawer," and that's it. That's all we hear more about ammo. Um,
that's a big drawer.
yeah, which I guess that's a part of the plot is that this is Tom's uncle's place, and the uncle died. I thought it was interesting, like the idea that his buddy went there, got like hurt, and he just ended up killing himself, because he had to kill his uncle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's they do have a little different dynamic to it, but um how the movie continues though, like since the car gets blown up,
Hmm.
and Tom and Judy Rose end up dying, and they go back to the house, and Barbara has like a shotgun, but she gets grabbed by the zombies, and instead of like helping her, like Cooper's like trying to steal the rifle from her, like as she's like getting dragged out the window, and it's like, all right, come on. Like they're just like, I get it. This guy's like a jerk, like he's horrible, like,
Yes, yeah.
and that's all he cares about. He just wants the gun so he can take it downstairs. But they do come back to the house, and of course, the little girl turns into a zombie and does turn the mother as well. And when the little girl comes up, Ben's like, Cooper, shoot her, Cooper. And so he does, he tries to, but uh, Cooper tries to end up shooting Ben a bunch. Like I think he gets hit like
Yes.
twice.
Yeah, he gets hit twice. And then Cooper runs upstairs. Ben ends up dying, and he's bleeding out. So that's how they changed
I
the
mean,
dynamic of the ending.
well, yeah, because in the original movie, Ben is mistaken. Like Ben never turns into a zombie. He gets mistaken for a zombie and he ends up getting shot.
Yeah, and let me see, that ending still sticks with me because it's a great ending because he makes it out, he survives, and then he just gets shot by these people. And then it's like those photos. It's like very haunting.
Yeah, it's it's a much different like, and he goes down. But in this one, like you said, he gets stuck down in the cellar, and of
Mhm.
course he finds the key that says gas pump on it. Like it's like,
Yeah.
and they play a little song that goes wah wah wah, which I thought was a weird choice for the movie.
Yeah, but I think it added to the cartoon quality. It's very
No, they
cartoony.
yeah, no, they don't do that. But
No.
uh anyway, like Barbara runs away from the house. So this is where it deviates a lot from the original.
Yeah,
And
it's a different take at this point.
and this was the part I was not the biggest fan of at all. Because
Hmm.
one, like, okay, so this all happens in one night. Like it's only been the passage of time is just it's been from like dusk or whatever evening from like the day before, and now it's morning.
Hmm.
And Barbara ends up running into like these biker gang or like hillbillies or country folk or whatever you want to say. And in this short amount of time, they've already established like this community, like this
Hmm.
like, oh, like here's our camp with all of our trailers. Here's a wrestling ring where we like corral dead folk in there and like wrestle with them.
Yeah.
And here's a tree where we just hang the zombies from, and we just shoot them.
Right.
And
And is that supposed to be the origin of the motorcycle gang from Dawn of the Dead? Because like it looks like the same people and the same motorcycle get up. I mean, they could just be a motorcycle gang, but that's what I kind of got out of that.
I guess, but I just, for me, I'm like, it's like, all right, like this, it's not even been 24 hours yet, and like it's like you're already being like, oh, like people have already lost their humanity, and like they're just
Yeah,
like, I think they're going to like this real chaotic, like, or we're just gonna kill zombies for just for the fun of it.
yeah, I agree. It feels odd, like because she's walking around and she's almost like, I can't believe it. We got to this point, and it's like we're just got here. We're kill we the zombies are still here. We gotta kill the zombies. Like they're already like feel safe as a community here. I don't know. It
Yeah,
felt odd.
well, I mean, like, because in the original, it's just like this big posse that, like, it's like this,
Yes,
it's like a big group of people. They're just like, we're gonna travel together in this group,
and we're gonna kill
and,
zombies.
and we're gonna kill zombies and try to help anybody that's, that's in trouble. But in this one, it's like we just like to go nuts and shoot zombies for fun. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
it's very cartoonish, which I did not really care for. And it's because even Barbara, she goes there and she's just like, ugh, like this is so gross type of thing. Like just
Mhm.
totally disgusted with the behavior of all that. And
Where they go back to the house, she ends up killing the zombie version of Ben, but Cooper's still alive.
no,
And
they shot the Ben.
oh,
Like
they shot Ben. Okay, yeah, that's right.
because they shot Ben, and then they're like, we're gonna go search the rest of the house, and then Cooper pops out.
That's right. And he's like, "You came back for me. You're here to help me." And she just shoots him point blank in the head. So you can't tell me that that's any better. That she's like, "Okay, whatever. You're dead,
Oh,
buddy."
it almost kind of felt like, I don't know if it was, I guess George Romero or just like, there, guys, like I finally gave you what you wanted. You wanted somebody to just shoot this guy in the head, type of thing.
Yeah,
Like,
but at the end of the movie.
yeah, like it's like he finally got his just desserts. Like he just gets his head blown off.
Yeah. I
But
don't know.
even then, like you said, like the special effects are very tame. Like even when Cooper gets like shot like right in the
Mhm.
forehead, it's like it just does like this little like hole in his head. There's no
Yeah.
blood or anything. This movie is
Yeah.
very devoid of blood.
Yeah, I really thought this was a theatrical movie, but I was like, "Oh, is this a TV movie?" Because there's only one death that really shocked me, and that was the death at the very beginning, Barbara's brother when he falls and like hits his head. That was shocking, but otherwise they hit zombies and it'll go through them, but it's not gory. You think a movie directed by Tom Savini would just be absolutely disgusting, but I guess it was dialed back by producers.
Possibly because I guess he did say like this movie was originally going to have like an X rating,
No.
and I think they had to tone it down a lot. So
There's a
that's
zombie butt at one point.
true.
Yeah.
Lucky us.
Yeah. Well, did you see who one of the producers was?
I did not.
Menachem Golan.
So it's a canon movie. Great.
Yeah, yeah. So it is that would maybe make a little more sense.
Yeah. No. Is this a canon movie?
It's not a canon movie. It's only produced by Menachem. It's not produced by the other one. So I don't.
Well, they had split up at that point, though.
Okay, so
So
maybe this is the one. This is the split where it's not canon.
okay, that would make more sense. But
Yeah.
I mean, overall, though, I mean, I know it sounds like we're shit talking this movie a lot, honestly, but I did like it. I mean, it's not a bad movie.
Hmm.
It's not nearly as good as the original, but it was entertaining enough where I did like it.
I said earlier that I liked it, but the more we talked about it, I think the less I like it. It was entertaining. I will say that. Like, I don't think it's like miserable or anything, but it really just to me, it pales in comparison to the original. The original is just so much better. And maybe if it did something a little more interesting, made a better twist on it than kind of a mediocre twist, I would have liked it a bit more. But just as a beat for beat remake, it just doesn't work. It does a lot wrong, and I don't like a lot of the performances. I think it's okay at best, and I think I'm not going to recommend this one. I think it's okay.
Yeah, I would give it a light recommend. It's a different enough take on the original
Hmm.
one where it's not a bad movie, but if you're looking for a different take on the original one, I think this one's good enough.
Hmm.
But
We'll fight about this after.
yeah, we will. We'll fight about it. But Nathan, we're gonna keep the spooky vibes going with what next week?
All right, next week we're going to be talking about a big one. We're going to be talking about An American Werewolf in London, which is streaming right now on the Criterion channel.
Terrific.
But
Well,
oh, go ahead.
terrific. Well, this is going to be great for what my next pick is going to be. Nathan, what's one thing you think about when you think of horror movies?
World War II.
No, no,
Oh,
Nathan. Which channel would you watch all your horror movies on?
oh. Which channel?
Yeah.
Horror movies? I don't know. Where are we going with this?
Nathan, it's of course the Hallmark Channel.
Oh, what? Yes, even Lifetime. With like where there's like the stalking movies, no Hallmark.
Yeah. So we're gonna be watching this movie called The Good Witch.
Oh,
Which is for free right now on YouTube.
oh, perfect. Well, I can't wait.
Yeah, it's gonna be terrific. We're gonna fall in love this Halloween. And but if you liked this episode, please send us an email over at drivein-double-feature-podcast@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on X at DIDF and once again, check out the Patreon at patreon.com/drivein-double-feature-podcast. But till next time.
Until next time.